I've never considered myself to be perfect, never. But I can't tell you how many people who think that I am. They don't think I have problems. So this is my wedding picture. I got married in June of 2005. If you are married, ever been married, about to get married, you know that most of the time, especially for women, our wedding day is supposed to be the most important day of our lives, the most beautiful day of our lives, and it's a day that we will never forget. Even if you find yourself in a situation where you're no longer with the person that you're married to, it still is a very big day. It's a very big deal. But when I look at this photo of the girl in this photo, I think of how that day, to me, is definitely not a day that I felt like was a beautiful day for me. I definitely was not living for myself during this time. This is a photo of a girl who wished that her wedding day was different. And the reason why I say that is because I was so bombarded with so many opinions and what other people thought I should do and how my wedding should go and this and that and all this other kind of stuff, that I forgot to really think about the person that really mattered the most, and that was me. What I wanted, what kind of things that I want on my wedding, and what my opinions were, what my thoughts were. And I allowed other people to dictate the most important day of my entire life. Every time I look at that picture, I feel angry at myself. I feel disappointed in myself. And I just hate that someone didn't tell me to really do what I wanted to do. And I look back at that girl and say, I wish I would have known that I could definitely live for myself and do what I wanted to do, and who cares what everybody else thought of what I was doing and whatever came from whatever day that day, because it was my day. I say all that to say how important it is to really live for yourself. And living for yourself is basically living in your own happiness, doing whatever you want to do whatever you feel, do whatever you think. And to really, in so many forms of passion, to really be a little selfish, because you are putting your feelings and your thoughts and your opinions before anybody else. Now, I know there's some people out there, particularly women, because we are the worst, especially if you are married and you have a family. Now, if you are single, I see that as a little bit easier to really live for yourself, because you don't really have to answer to anybody. You can pretty much make your own decisions and choices and things like that. But even single women have a difficult time to live for themselves, because you might have these people around you, your friends, your family, or whatever, telling you what you need to do, how you need to live. And so definitely you are going to sometimes have a difficult time to live for yourself as well. But when you're married, it's definitely a lot, to me, very difficult. Because a lot of times when you're married, you put everybody else before yourself, and you feel like it's selfish for you to actually think about what you want and, you know, put everybody else's needs and desires behind yourself. And as women, a lot of times we are made to feel guilty when we say to ourselves, you know what, I'm not going to do whatever A, B, C, or D, because this is what I want to do. I have something else in mind that I'm doing, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So I'm just going to give you some things that you can start practicing, things that I'm practicing within myself to live for myself and to really embrace self-love and all that comes with it. So the first thing that I am definitely doing in my life is to disregard everybody else's feelings and thoughts pertaining to what I want to do and where I want to go. There was a time that, and I know it's silly, but I know I can't be the only one that does this, that just thinks that everybody, whatever somebody gives you a suggestion, and all of a sudden it's the gospel. I didn't grow up with a lot of self-confidence in myself. It's almost like I never felt like I was good enough to make decisions and make choices. And I thought, you know what, maybe somebody else can make those choices for me and make those decisions for me. And I looked to just whoever said whatever, and I listened to those people. And I really don't know why I did that. I guess because I didn't really have a lot of confidence in myself to know that I have my own mind and I have the right to have my own decisions and to have my own choices and have my own opinions. I can remember, and I'm not going to say who told me because I don't think that's important. So I'm just going to give you the situation of just letting somebody else's opinion overshadow my own. So I was going on a plane ride and I had on a velour sweatsuit. And if you all know, velour sweatsuits was a thing back then, back in the early 2000s, and it's coming back now. But anyway, I was going on a plane ride and that's what I decided to wear. And the person told me, no, you don't need to wear that on the plane. You're going to be cold. That's not something that you should wear. You need to be wearing something else. You need to put on jeans. And I remember saying something like, I don't really know what's wrong with what I'm wearing. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But silly me went and changed into something that they felt like was more appropriate for me to wear on a plane ride. And I look back on that situation now and I say to myself, you know what, if I would have actually lived for myself, if I actually had a lot more self-love then that I do now, I would have told that person, you know what, screw you and your opinions or whatever you have to say. This is what I'm wearing, and if you don't think that it's appropriate, well, you're not the one going on the plane. And that is the very first thing of really loving and living for yourself and really embracing the self-love, is really not concentrating on what everybody else is thinking. Even if the person is close to you, I now consider those things to be suggestions. Now when somebody has an opinion or I ask for somebody's opinion or they give me an opinion, now I look at it as a suggestion. I don't look at it as something that I have to do. And I always follow up with a thank you very much. I really appreciate you having whatever you feel. But this is what I'm going to decide to do. And I do what I want to do. And I feel what is good for me to do. And that's important when you start to live for yourself, because then you start to be happier with your choices. I find every time I say to myself, I'm not going to do what that person said to me to do because I don't think that's the right thing for me, and I end up doing what I want to do, I feel happier. I feel a lot at peace. I feel more confident in my decision. I don't second guess myself and say, you know, I shouldn't have done that, because I know that the choice that I made was my choice. It was nobody else's choice. The second thing that I'm doing to live for myself and to really embrace self-love is stop trying to please everybody. I used to be the biggest people pleaser, constantly trying to please people in my life, and it's draining. It really is draining, especially when you try to do those things for people and they still don't appreciate it. They still have something negative to say about whatever you're doing. It's never good enough, even after you do what they asked you to do, and they still have a problem. So it's just like, so why did I do all of that? Like, people pleasing is one of the biggest traps out there, because those people that you're trying to please, they don't care anything about you. They don't care anything about what you want. All they care about is getting what they want and getting their needs met. And you need to think of those people as very selfish, because they are not thinking about your desires. They're not thinking about how you feel about the situation. They're not thinking about you at all. So since they're not thinking about you, then why are you wasting your time on those types of people? And that's how I think of those things now. What am I gaining from doing what you want me to do? Is something coming back to me? Am I going to get money from this? Is this going to help me in the long run? If it's not going to help me, if it's not going to make me feel better about myself, if it's not going to make me feel good, if it's not bringing something back to me where I can walk away and say this was an equal type of transaction, then I no longer waste my time with that. A lot of times people at my job, and I've told y'all before that I'm a teacher, and they always think it's hilarious when they ask me to stay after for whatever reason, or do something that to me is like, no, I'm not I'm not doing that. I don't have to do it. It's not in my job description to do it. I can if I want to be nice about it, but no, I don't want to do that. It's not going to benefit me one way or the other. If it's benefiting the children, that's a different situation. But if it's benefiting you and what you want, and you just want me to do it because you just want me to do it, I'd have to say a no to that. So I'm definitely to the point now where I'm not doing that anymore, people pleasing, because that is definitely a deadly trap. You're definitely not living for yourself if you're constantly pleasing everybody else, because you are going to end up at the short stick every single time on that one. The third thing of living for yourself is expressing yourself, expressing your feelings, expressing your emotions, expressing when you're angry, expressing when you're sad, expressing those feelings to people that matter, to people that is going to help you with those feelings. I'm still working on this. I'm still working on this. This is not something that I have down at all, and I'm just going to be honest with that. I have a very hard time expressing myself to people because I'm not very trusting of individuals. I've gotten burnt so many times by trusting someone with things that I've told them, and they've taken that and they have destroyed whatever I've said and taken it and did something else with it, and it's all due to them trying to destroy me, to make me feel bad about myself. And so now it's just like, you know what, I can't express myself to people the way I used to, because people have taken those emotions and they have made fun of my feelings, or they have taken that information and they have used it against me in some form or fashion. And so now I literally have a wall built around me. Like, there's only a couple of people in my life that I actually express myself to, and I'm talking about fully and completely, to the point where I'm very vulnerable. I don't have a lot of people in my life that I do that with, because I don't trust anybody to hold that type of information. And that has to be a very comfortable place that you have within yourself and within your mind, that you can say, okay, yes, I can share these emotions, I can share my feelings, and I know that I can still walk away and be the same exact person I was before I shared them. And I have definitely been in several situations where I've had a lot of stuff on me that I just did not feel like I can share it with anybody, and I find myself overwhelmed in tears, literally crying, and you know, all over the place, emotions all over the place, just because simply I just did not express those emotions. It's definitely important for you to express your feelings, because that is definitely a sign or an indication of you living for yourself and giving yourself that self-love, because you're giving yourself the okay to express the feelings that you have inside of you. The next thing is stop getting so stuck on being perfect and trying to live a flawless life. There's no such thing as that. Now, I know there's a lot of videos out there, flawless makeup and how to be flawless. There's just, it's just an unreasonable expectation to put on yourself. And I've never considered myself to be perfect, never. But I can't tell you how many people who think that I am. They don't think I have problems. They don't think that I have things that bother me. And so a lot of people consider me, sometimes think that I'm perfect, because that's what I give them. And I know I'm not gonna say I know. Well, yeah, I know that that's not something that should be all the time. I should be able to be vulnerable, and that's hard for me to be vulnerable. And because I feel like a lot of people that I've come in contact with in my lifetime seem like, to me, didn't want me to do well. I've had people that I've come across that didn't want me to do well. They wanted me to fail. They wanted me to stay down there, because they had it in their minds that I thought I was perfect. And I'm just like, I never said that. I've just always lived a life where I felt like I don't want to be involved in any type of foolery. That's the type of person that I don't want to be involved in any type of foolery. So in order for me not to be involved in foolery, I have to then walk a different path. I can't walk the path that everybody else is walking, because if I walk the path that everybody else is walking, I don't know where that path is going to take me. So it's important that you say to yourself, you know, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, and that's okay for me to make mistakes, and I can learn from my mistakes along the way. And I think that's important. As humans, we have to say there's no such thing as a perfect person. Nobody out here is perfect except for God, and unless you're him, you're definitely going to have some flaws. So in my 5 things that you need to leave behind in 2022, I talked about forgiving people, letting go of your past and moving on. But for living for yourself, it's important for you to forgive yourself to really forgive whatever you've done that you can't seem to get over. For me, there's a lot of things in my life that I've had to forgive myself for, that I've had to say, you know what, it is what it is, it happened. There's nothing I can do to change it, but there is something I can do to move forward from that, to learn from that, and to forgive myself for being that way, for being in that particular situation, from doing those different types of things. I can look at that situation and learn from it and forgive myself, and don't go back. And how I forgive myself is really going to the Lord in prayer and praying to Him to help me to see that situation for what it was, and to let me see how did I play a role in it. Why was I in that situation? Why did I allow myself to do those things? You know, what was my mindset? I go and pray about the entire situation to God so that He can bring me clarity as far as, okay, this is the reason why you did it, because you were selfish. You was thinking about yourself. There's a lot of different reasons why we do the things that we do, and sometimes we do need clarification. God will give us that clarification and tell us, this is the reason why you're doing all that, and then He can give you a clarification as to where to go forward. And there have been many times that I've gone to God for things that I've done in my past that I really want to let go of, and I don't want to revisit that anymore. And He has helped me to forgive myself and to forgive that whole situation so that I can move forward. So it's very important for you to forgive yourself if you're planning on living for yourself and loving yourself. The next thing is doing something for yourself that you absolutely love, that you really enjoy doing, and not letting anything or anybody interfere with that. Just do something because you love to do it, not because you have to do it, not because you're getting paid to do it, but because you naturally want to do it. I naturally love to make YouTube videos, and I have accepted that fact a long time ago. I started a YouTube channel back in 2008 that didn't work out. I started again in 2011 and didn't work out, and so I started again in 2021, and I've been going now for about a year now. And I absolutely love making YouTube videos. I love to talk. I love to give tutorials. I love to teach. I'm a teacher. And I love the whole aspect of YouTube in general. Recording a video, editing a video, getting the video posted up. All that just makes me feel good. And so I love to make YouTube videos, so that's what I do. I do this in my spare time. I'm not trying to make any money out of it. I mean, if money comes from it, great. If it doesn't, great as well. I just enjoy doing the videos. And so a lot of times when you are doing something that you love and there's somebody that doesn't like for you to do that, sometimes we stop doing it, and we find ourselves unhappy because of it. I think a lot of people say, oh, this person loves to, you know, skydive, or they love to do all these wild and crazy and adventurous things, and then you say to yourself, well, the only thing I love to do is, you know, listen to music. Well, if that's what you love to do, then that's what you love to do, so do it. Don't get caught up into what everybody else's love is. Everybody else's love is different. The purpose is for you to do it so that it can bring happiness to your life, and for you to really understand that this is a part of you. This is a part of you that you are going to embrace and that you're going to love, because it is definitely who you are, and you are living for who you are. The next thing is to take some time for yourself. That is definitely something that it should not even be a second thought. You should always take time for yourself, whatever that time is. And if you have a family, especially when you have little bitty tiny ones, it's hard for you to get that me time, because they're constantly needing your attention. And you shouldn't ever feel guilty if you say to, you know, if you are living with some, you know, if you're married to somebody or living with somebody, hey, can you take the kids for a couple of hours so that I can go and have some me time? Or, you know, take them over someone's house, or even during that time when they're asleep. You know, any time that you can get that me time in there, you should find that time to try to get the me time. Even if it's just 15 to 20 minutes, this 15 to 20 minutes that you have to yourself. Now, for me, my daughter's 21, almost 21 years old, so she's in college. My son is 14, so I'm able to now get however much me time as I want, because I don't have anybody that I have to literally cater to anymore, because the people in this house are able to take care of themselves. So I can have me time whenever I want to have me time. And my me time is taking a bubble bath. I mean, that is my me time. That is where I am able to just lounge out, read, or listen to music or whatever. Sometimes I'm in there a little longer than I should, but it definitely is a great me time for me. Another thing that I'm going to pick back up, I used to get a massage once a month. And I find that getting a massage is really relaxing. Not only is it relaxing, but it really does something to your body. It really makes you feel good. If you've never gotten a massage, and I'm talking about on a regular basis, not on special occasions, but I'm talking about like literally once a month, you really need to try it. It just balances your body out, and it just makes you feel good all over. But whatever that you want to do for me time, you should incorporate that into your daily life. That's not something that it should just be every now and then. Like, this is something that you should do daily. You should try to have a me time at least every day. And if you can't have a me time every day, at least 2 or 3 times a week. That's important, because you need that time to recharge and re-energize yourself, and so that you can be there for the people that you love and who love you. So living for yourself is definitely getting that me time in, and using that time to meditate, to pray, to read, to self-help books, to journal if you do journals. Just that time to really get into your space, to understand all the stuff that might be going on in your life, so that you can get a clear understanding of where you're going, why you're where you need to be or not need to be. And it clears your head, and it just makes to me the days a lot better when you have that me time. And the last thing for living for yourself is just enjoying life, finding the joys of life, laughing and crying, and just being in the moment of living. That's can be very difficult, to be in that moment of living, and to really just look at life and say, this is where I'm at. I don't have to take things so seriously. I love to laugh, actually. I used to laugh all the time, and one of the things I had to stop doing is laughing when somebody was saying something that I really didn't agree with, or just laughing because I was nervous, or laughing so that I wouldn't have to say anything. Like, I've had to actually stop doing that, and have to make a conscious effort to stop doing that. But otherwise, I'm laughing all the time. I love to laugh. I love to be funny. I love to be in a laughter type of, happy type of environment. So it's good to just live your life in the moment, live your life the way that you want to be, not take things so seriously. And you will find that when you're like that, life is a lot more enjoyable to you, and living for yourself is going to be a lot easier. All right, you all, that is all of the things that I feel like that you should be doing to live for yourself, and to really take all of that self-love in. This is Michelle Mazelleghh. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.